Welcome to the second installment of the First Time Homebuyer series. In this lesson, we're going to talk about 4 common questions that homebuyers have. The first one is, should I rent or should I buy? Given all the different variables, my situation, the market situation, what's best for me now? Second question, what are the benefits of owning a property? Third, we're going to talk about how do I get started? I've been looking at places online, but now I really want to get serious with it. And then finally, how much money do I need to have in order to buy a property? We'll answer all four of those questions right now. So first one, is it better for me to rent or buy? Now, at the risk of sounding like a salesperson, I'm going to tell you that it's better to buy in almost every single case. And the reason for that is this is an investment. This is a financial investment for you. It's a big investment. Investments do better with time. It's better to buy now than it is to buy a couple years from now or next year. Absolutely. Now, there's going to be a couple of situations where I would tell you it's better to rent. First, if you are planning on getting if you know you're going to get a raise with your work, with your salary, you're going to start, and it's a big one. One that makes a difference in what you can afford to buy. And what you can afford to buy now isn't going to cut it for you as far as size or location or condition. It's not enough for you. You wouldn't be happy with it. With that raise, we're going to be able to get you into the range of what you want. Then I want you to wait until you can get that raise. Secondarily, maybe your employer is telling you that you're probably going to be transferred. Maybe out of state, maybe to the other side of town. If that's the case, then stay renting. Don't buy a place because that's just not going to work for you in that 1-year time. Every other case, it's going to be better. Even with the interest rates right now, buyers will say, "Well, gosh, interest rates are 7%. They're high." Historically, that's about average, but I understand what you're saying because just a couple years ago, it was 3%. Now, the federal government was busy buying bonds at that time, which was artificially lowering the interest rates. So we're not going to see 3% anytime soon, and not at all unless there's another artificial external variable that helps to lower the interest rates. One thing I want to bring up when we're talking about interest rates like this, we're going to always be talking about a 30-year fixed rate loan. 15-year loans have different rates. There's different programs. It gets very confusing for people. So we're always going to be talking 30-year fixed rate on these interest rates. And at 7%, we're talking about a conventional loan. So we get back to why is it that you rush out and buy something with a 7% rate when you're hearing that a year from now interest rates are going to be lower? And they probably will be. We're going to start to see interest rates getting down into the mid 6s, low 6s, hopefully within the next couple of years, even into the 5s. At that point, the market will be much faster. So right now, the benefit you have as a buyer at 7% interest rate, there's not a lot of buyers out there. That means you are not having to compete in most cases. In some cases, there is still competition, but in most cases, you're not competing with other buyers, having to go over asking price. In many cases, you can negotiate below the asking price. Every case is different, and I'm here to help you with that. But what will happen as the interest rates go down, the buyer pool goes up, and you will start competing with other buyers. And that's going to jack up the purchase price considerably. So I'm not sure that it's a better deal to wait for that interest rate as opposed to buying something now. You always have the chance to refinance down the road. Answering the question of, hey, what's in it for me? Why is it better for me to own than it is to rent? Some of you think this is a pretty obvious answer. I've got 3 answers for you. 2 of them are financial. One of them is leveraged investment. So you're buying a property, let's say for $100,000. Now, you know it's just an example because there's no such thing as a property for $100,000 right now. But let's say you're buying a house at $100,000 and you're putting $5,000 down. The bank is putting $95,000 down. 5 years from now, that $100,000 investment is going to probably be worth somewhere around $130,000. That means your $5,000 has turned into $35,000. over a course of a 5-year period. 700% growth in your investment is a pretty good growth in that 5-year period of time. Secondarily, you've got a tax deduction. The interest that you pay on your mortgage, that interest is tax deductible. That means if you've got a mortgage payment here, you got a rent payment here, with that tax deduction, that effectively lowers the amount that you're paying on the mortgage, which really makes a big difference. When you're renting, you're paying somebody else's mortgage, and they are getting the tax deduction for that. The final reason that I feel that it's better to own than it is to rent is not financial. It's just it's an emotional thing. It just feels better when you own. When you're going home to a place that you own, and you know that when you're doing work on the yard or you're doing work to make it nicer on the inside, it's because you own it. It makes all the difference in the world. All right, the next question is, how do I get started? You've been looking online. There's some amazing places online. You can see a lot of information. That's wonderful, but at some point, you need to get your team together. You need to get a realtor online, and you need to get a mortgage person, a mortgage lender on your team. How do you do that? It doesn't matter. You can start with the lender and then go to the realtor. You could start with the realtor and then go to the lender. They should both be able to help you with the other. You might have a friend that has recently bought a place or a family member and they love the realtor that they used. That's great. You've got somebody already. In any case, I would recommend talk to interview two or three different realtors. I'm happy to help you out. Call me. I would be happy to help you with the purchase. But interview 2 or 3 different realtors, because this is a relationship that should be an easy one for you, should be enjoyable. And it's going to be somebody that you talk to fairly frequently for the period of time that you're buying a house, whether that is 2 months, whether that's 6 months. This is somebody that you're going to be talking to, and you don't want it to be a painful relationship. So have a 10-minute, 15-minute phone call with somebody. Have coffee with them. Get a feeling for, is this person going to have your best interest in mind? Do you get along with this person? This person is experienced, knows what to look for in helping you out. That's a good starting point. As far as getting the lender in line, you can talk to your bank first, but it'll also be good to talk to a mortgage company, somebody that specializes in mortgages. There's so many different types of mortgages out there, different things that a mortgage company knows a little more than your typical bank does. So you can start either way. They can both pre-qualify you, but once you come down to comparing different programs and their prices, I think you'll probably end up going with a mortgage company. But the important thing is to get pre-qualified so that we know where to get started in the search. Right now, if all you've been doing is looking online, you've got the shotgun approach where you don't really know, you kind of know where you're looking in different areas, and you kind of know the price range. It's kind of a little nebulous as to where you should be looking. Once we get that pre-qualification, then your realtor and you should be able to really start focusing in to find places to go look at, and that's going to help your efficiency in this whole process. We'll talk in a couple of videos more about what it's like to be looking at houses and how to make that really valuable for your time. So then the other question is, how much money do I need to buy a property? Well, there's different types of loans out there, and this is the question that the lender is going to be able to help you out with. But in general, the lowest amount of down payment is 0, and that is for a VA loan. If you are a veteran out there, first, thank you for your service. You get the benefit of a VA loan with 0 down payment. FHA is your next lowest price at 3.5%. There are down payment assistance programs that can get that down to $1,000, such as CHAFA. That's a second loan that it's on top of the FHA loan. So it does affect the interest rates a little bit, but that's a $1,000 down payment. FHA standing by itself is 3.5% down, and then you get to conventional loans that will start at about 5% down. They all have differences as far as interest rates, mortgage insurance rates. Those are things that the mortgage person is going to be able to really help you compare product and what is going to be best for you. But just in general, that's your $1,000, 3.5%, or 5%, or if you're a veteran, 0 down. Those are the answers to those first 4 questions. I'm sure you're going to have a lot more, and your realtor is going to be able to help answer those for you. Our next video, we're going to talk about what are the steps of buying a house. Thank you for joining me on this one, and we'll see you in the next video.